Hello, my name is Joel Adair, and welcome to another episode of Over Asking. Over the years, while vacationing on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, I've hit most of the popular destinations for tourism. I've stayed in Cancun, the Mayan Riviera, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, Tulum, which, by the way, I absolutely love Tulum. But a recent trip to the Yucatan took me in a different direction. After landing in Cancun, I got on a boat and headed due west for about 15 or 20 kilometers until I reached the island of Isla Mujeres. Isla Mujeres is an island of beauty and of legends, like the Mayan goddess Ixchel, who is known as the goddess of the moon and fertility. And Mayan women who worshipped her would take a pilgrimage to a sacred cave on the south end of the island to give birth. There's also another very interesting legend of the pirate Mundaca. Mundaca would have done anything to win the affection of one very special young Mayan woman, including buying up most of the land on the island to win her affection. But ultimately, he could never reconcile with her for his misdeeds in the slave trade and died alone of a broken heart. The remains of these legends can still be found on the island today, and the pirate Mundaca, who at one point managed to accumulate ownership of the majority of the island, now has a museum located on his former estate, and the biggest real estate brokerage on the island now bears the name of the former land baron. Real estate agents here don't need a license to sell, and basically there's no such thing as a mortgage broker because essentially mortgages are non-existent. Real estate salespeople still need to trade real estate through a brokerage that is licensed, and the more business that brokerage does, the more likely you are to have a good result as a buyer or seller. But let's face it, on an island with a population of 14,000 people, there's only so much real estate you can sell in one day. But the island is very charming. It's safe, has solid infrastructure with municipal water and electricity that comes across the ocean floor from Cancun. There's incredible food, there's amenities, parks, entertainment, stunning beaches, culture, history. The resorts here are much more boutique in style and have a very different feel from the monster all-inclusive resorts you'll find in Cancun or the Mayan Riviera. I was invited to stay as a guest at the Zoëtry Villa Resort, which has been frequented by guests like Bono, Tony Blair, Richard Branson, so there's definitely a luxury vibe to parts of the island, particularly the southeastern shoreline. Raw land on the island has become extremely rare, and as the word continues to spread, demand for the property on the island seems to increase more and more with every passing year. Despite the scarcity of land on the island, you can still enter the market with about $300,000 in liquidity. Of course, spending $3 million on a private residence wouldn't be uncommon either. And because buyers here are paying cash and likely own multiple homes or vacation properties in other parts of the world, the market tends to remain stable and relatively insulated. Most buyers here can typically be sorted into two different buckets. You're likely either an investor who's highly interested in the numbers like annual appreciation or rental income, but you might still want a vacation once or twice a year and visit your property. Or you're the less common brand of buyer who's looking to permanently relocate, chasing a lifestyle and trying to once and for all escape the rat race of the big North American cities. One such buyer goes by the name of Todd Pierce. Todd is a cultural anthropologist by trade who relocated to the island 8 years ago with his wife after spending 20 years in the daily grind of Washington, D.C. These days, Todd refers to himself as the island anthropologist who also sells real estate. I spent several hours with Todd touring the island in his golf cart because that's just how you do it in Isla Mujeres. But after about 2 hours, we ended up in the bar drinking margaritas and discussing what it's like to live on a tiny island, his decision to move there, and the incredible work that he and his brokerage are doing to impact the local community. Listen as I debrief with Todd Pierce from Mundaca Real Estate following my showings on the island of Isla Mujeres.
Cancun is a massive city. What most people know of Cancun is the hotel zone, the tourist area, which is minuscule. You know, in 1970, it was a city of about 100 people. You know, it was an insignificant fishing village. The government of Mexico wanted to make a planned tourism center that was going to be kind of like Puerto Vallarta, but much more efficient and planned better. What Isla Mujeres is, it's not Cancun. You know, it's not the all-inclusive resorts everywhere, and that's all it is. And you know, this island had more of a population in 1970 than Cancun did. A few thousand people lived here. Now about 14,000 people live here. We're also a bound entity, right? We're 5 miles long and a half mile wide. It's like having a rare case of champagne, and you're selling it by the bottle. The price of number 12 is not the same as number 6. The resale on 12, once all 12 is sold, is crazy. So, you know, we're not at the point yet where we're out of land. There is still some land, but it's getting there. In the last 5 years, it's been at least 25% increase. In the last year or two, that number is probably going up to close to 35%. They're coming here and they see, oh, well, I can buy this house for $390,000. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. You know, with ocean views, and there are no chains here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, all the restaurants are mom and pop restaurants. You know, and some people wonder, will that kind of charm slowly disappear as the word gets out more and more? You know, maybe a little bit, but I'll tell you, in the last year, we probably had last 2 years, about 100 restaurants open up. Yeah. And about 50 of those close. The competition is good. The tacos are getting better. The number one thing I say to people who want to move here is, and be able to have a good time, is just be a good neighbor. Yeah. You know, help out where you can. Just be a good neighbor. Yeah. And respect the culture, you know. Like the company I work with, Mundaca Real Estate, we do a lot of logistical stuff for an event called the Island Time Music Festival. And musicians from Nashville mostly, also other areas, Texas for sure. Kelly Pickler, she comes down for that sometimes. Lee Bryce, some big names. You sell out stadiums, you know, but you're here to volunteer your time and your talent to be on a small stage on a beach for 100 people. We bought tickets, but we'll raise, last couple years, we rose in 1 week, 2 years operational budget for the Little Yellow Schoolhouse, which is a school here for children with disabilities. And it's all privately funded. Yeah. You know, in 1 week, we do that. So there's things you can do to keep yourself active that are good for the community. I'm a doctor of anthropology, and I practice as an anthropologist for 25 years in the States. I'm a cultural anthropologist. I study modern people, and I study modern issues. So most anthropologists are cultural anthropologists, and they study living things. So everything that humans do is learn behavior. Anthropologists study behavior. So we were talking about lifestyle here, and it's hard to beat. It really is. Some people can't, you know, they need more city life and all that, so it's not enough for them. But it's slow pace, man. Yeah, you know, life's pretty slow here. You can take it pretty easy. You know, that's what it's about. You know, when somebody can like wake up during the day and wake up and say, I love my life, I love my job, I love where I live, and I'm not stressed out. That's arriving right there. You know, so really are looking at making more dreamers. You know, talking to people and making them dream about. Then eventually you make those dreamers into tire kickers, window shoppers, and eventually they become buyers.
Real estate can symbolize a lifestyle. It can symbolize status, security, wealth, or it can represent a dream or a new way of life. Today's vlog is obviously much more about lifestyle and priorities and less about analytics and numbers. As much as I enjoy traveling and belling up to the bar, listening to stories from the people who have the guts to take a leap of faith and move to the island paradise in pursuit of a healthier, simpler life, I know I'm not ready to follow in those footsteps, at least not just yet. But after spending time with Todd, I find myself examining my own life, my own culture, and my own behavior, wondering if the big city still needs me. For now, it's still a resounding yes. My calling is here in the big city. But Todd was definitely helping feed the dreamer inside of me. And the day I had to leave the island, knowing it would only be a matter of time before I'd be back to the grind in Toronto, it made me wonder, what if? Thank you for watching. That's going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed this one, please hit the like button, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. We'll see you next time. Bye.